sisters. Sister Smith here. D is what I go by. I just like to tell you about the bread that I make. It doesn't exactly follow the recipe. I always change it a little bit, but I'd like to share with you what I've learned over the last 20, 30 years about making natural bread. This is a book I really, really recommend, The Art of Baking with Natural Yeast by Caleb Warnock and Melissa Richardson. It's about $18, but it's well worth it. It really shows you how to make bread that people will eat. So, okay, I'm just going to start out with a few things that you should know. This is what natural yeast looks like. And if you look inside, you'll see bubbles. And that's the yeast rising, and it's supposed to do that. And that's what makes the bread rise. Now, if it gets a watery substance on the top that looks kind of yellow and sometimes dark if you let it go too long, then you just take it over, and all you have to do, now I don't have much, but you can see, but usually there's more, but I just fed this a day or so ago. So, but don't worry about that, that's not harmful, it's just the alcohol that comes off of it, and it won't hurt you. So, anyway, you pour it off, and this is your yeast that helps you, and it's just continuous yeast if you feed it. This is like Melissa in the book calls, she gives her yeast names. I think one is Petey or Petrie or something, I don't know. I haven't named mine, but I do have 2 jars. And they don't have to be this big. They can be pint size or even smaller. It just depends on how much you bake. And I know I'm going to be baking a lot this weekend, so I made more. But you do 2 of them, because if something happens to one, like you freeze it and you shouldn't have, or you kill it somehow, you have another start without asking somebody else for a start. So, what can I tell you about it? To feed it, it's really, really simple. You just, okay, I'm gonna take this, and I'm gonna say, you take, all right, let's say, for this one, I'm going to be using about a cup of it today. So there'll be about a cup left. So I will say you take whatever measurement you want. It could be a half a cup or a quarter of a cup, depending on how much you want to make. But you do equal parts of the whole wheat flour with water. And the water is, the water is warm. And all I do is go over to the tap. When I feel that it's just very warm to my fingers, that's the right temperature. And then I would put in equal amounts. Well, here, I will show you. Actually do it. And I'm going to pour some of this out so that you can see exactly what I'm trying to do. I would usually just put this on a plastic sheet, and then it dries and I can save it. But just for demonstration purposes, I am going to, okay, this is a half a cup of warm water. Now, I'm going to get half a cup, okay? Mix up the half a cup of warm water. Now I'm feeding it, just like you would an animal. You feed your pets. Well, this is my pet natural yeast. Okay, so I've given it water, And now it looks like this runny goo. Okay, now you add the 1/2 cup of whole wheat flour. And you mix it well. Okay, now it gets thicker. It's like really thick pancake batter, like that. Okay, now, okay. Now I have just fed my natural yeast. So the one thing that you have to do is you put a lid on it, but you put a lid on it upside down. So usually your lid goes this way, but in this particular case, I'm going to put the lid on so it's upside down. Now, why would I do such a thing? Because I need air to get into the bottle. And if you put the lid on the right way, it'll seal it and it will kill the yeast inside. Now, I could leave this out for an hour or two, and it would rise up to here. It would double. It'll double in size from what I put in. But it just depends. If I put it in the fridge, it'll also double. But and you just play around. You will get to you'll get to the point of where everything is just something that you don't have to exactly measure because you can tell by the texture. But this one's been fed, and you only have to feed it every, I would say 2 to 3 days. If you go to 4, you'll get a lot of the dark water on top of it. And I find when you get that dark alcohol-y stuff on it, that it becomes a really strong sourdough taste. And I don't like a strong sourdough taste. Now, if you like really strong sourdough, just let it go longer. But I like my bread to be mild. And so, what else can I tell you? If you can make lots of mistakes with your yeast, and it's forgivable because you can kind of start over. And usually when you feed it again and you get it growing, then like it's supposed to, then you know you've got it back. So even when I've really tried to kill it, I got it back. So don't worry about that. This is what the yeast is supposed to look like. Now you can see on the side of the bottle, there's bubbles all the way through it. So, okay, now